Okay. We're going to do a breakdown of the Tampa uh, card for today. Now, today being Christmas Eve, there are no sports. Well, no bettable sports for me. The market closes at 1. So, as I posted on X today, you could either, for the rest of the afternoon before dinner, you could either kind of catch up with loved ones, catch up on some tasks that you otherwise keep putting off, just kind of relax and meditate and think about life. Or you could degen the one racetrack, which is racing today, that being Tampa Downs, Tampa Bay. So we know what we're doing. So I figured as I'm doing this, may as well just kind of give out some good values for you guys today. And the usual disclaimers. Now, first of all, without getting too into it, is probably the best EV you're going to extract from me. For those of you that follow me in DFS, you follow me in poker, backgammon, whatever. Even the stock market, which I obviously have a good history with. But the edge I'll give you in horse racing is probably the biggest. I won't go into my history with this, but nonetheless, I usually just put this out for our TrueDFS subscribers every once in a while. And one of the reasons I do this so infrequently is that, I mean, quite honestly, the pools in some of these tracks are so small that if even one person kind of follows what I'm recommending, it's going to just destroy everybody's price, especially at a track like Tampa. The only time I'll ever usually do this is on Breeders' Cup days or big Triple Crown days where the price is not going to get affected. But every once in a while, I will just kind of throw things up there and just, count on the fact that very few people even follow horse racing. And I have to say that we've run so far ahead of expectations when I have put stuff up. It's a little scary. And again, that's just the way luck happens sometimes. I don't certainly anticipate that continuing. We will regress. Well, that would be a cool t-shirt, like we will regress or something like that. Maybe that's not such a cool t-shirt. Anyway. So here are the usual disclaimers. I mean, everything I'm going to go over is price sensitive. And I'm going to guess as to what some of these prices are going to be. But, if I say something's a good price at 10 to 1, it goes up at 9 to 5, and you're probably not supposed to bet it. Okay. And with that said, I mean, horse racing in general, you're not supposed to really bet anything until 30 seconds to post, so that you at least have an idea of what you're going to be getting as far as price goes. Now, I don't want to go into too big of a tirade about this, but in today's environment, and one of the reasons I really don't play that heavy anymore, again, I don't want to create a whole holy war here, but the way the money flows in, both from simulcasting and from computer assisted wagering syndicates, so much of the money comes in, even sometimes after the gate opens, that in some sense you don't even know really what you're getting, which makes betting horse racing in that type of environment extremely difficult to say the least, or impossible. I think impossible really is kind of a very restrictive word, but it's extremely hard. If forget the fact you're competing with those types of syndicates who obviously know what they're doing. Shouldn't say obviously, but they know what they're doing. The fact that you don't even know what your price is going to be in some of these tracks until after you put your bets in makes even an educated consumer, kind of flying blind. So it's hard. So that's one of the reasons why I usually just bet. When I bet at all, I'll bet like pick six carryovers, things like that, which are not as affected by computer assisted wagering and where no one knows what price they're getting anyway. Okay, because they don't post those in advance, nor pick threes, nor pick fours. So with that said, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go through all the races, and I'm going to highlight what I think the good values are. And I'm going to do my best to guide you as far as pricing goes. But don't be surprised if, number one, I give horses out that win, which I don't bet. I give horses out that I bet something that ends up winning that I didn't talk about here, but I'm going to do my best to be as transparent as possible. Now, they did a good job, by the way, with the, well, they didn't do it on purpose, but with respect to the values relative to the level of degeneracy. Because as I mentioned, I mean, the market doesn't technically close for another 2 hours. Um, so technically, you're really not supposed to be going into full degen mode for a few hours. And that's the good thing, is that the first couple of races are not that great anyway. So it's very conducive to you keeping your karma. But just to be pure, I will go over who I think are decent values the first couple of races, and the answer is very little. Okay, like if you happen to catch this, I don't even know if this is going to get posted before the race goes off, but race one, Brook Mesa is, I consider, clearly the most likely winner. And by the way, I'm not going to get into the fundamentals of why I like the horses I like. That's just not my style. It's not my thing. I'm not going to get into sheet theory or anything like that. I will say, again, for those of you watching this for the first time, that's where I got my screen name, uh, because of my long association with the sheets. Not association, my long I don't know, history using the sheets. Let's put it that way. And I'm not going to get into what that is either, but I'm just going to go over what values are. So Brook Mesa, 8-5, most likely winner. Probably break even value at 8-5. It's probably not worth betting. But again, if you are going to somehow see this before it goes off, maybe play this one. It's a pretty chalky early pick three or anything. So I really don't recommend it, but to really talk about the full card, let's do it. And again, race two, same type of thing. Like, I think actually, you know what, the one Jazz and Blues I have is rated as the most likely winner, and considering he is 5-1 morning line, I suppose that you could argue that it's decent value. So if you want to, you can go ahead and try that. Again, not great. And if it gets bet down to even 7-2, probably not worth it, but probably is the most likely winner. So again, depending on when you've seen this video, the level of degeneracy, that should guide you as far as to what you want to do here. And then in race three, very little as far as value here. I think the two chalks are probably gonna, I shouldn't say run 1-2, but they're clearly the two most likely winners, and probably not worth doing. So finally, we're getting towards when you're really allowed to bet, which is, again, for 1-800-GAMBLER purposes, I don't think that you should really be doing much until 2 p.m. But if you do get here for race four, I don't think that the 8 at 8-5 is even the most likely winner. I shouldn't say that. I mean, it's in contention, but it's certainly, in my opinion, a terrible 8-5 shot. Like, I believe that the 2 Big Fig is just as likely to win as 88 Take Charge Smiley. So if you want to get things going, you could try this. You could try Big Fig. As a matter of fact, I think that the 5 and the 7 Grimes, Call Me Iceman, like the 6, like I think all of these are just as good as Take Charge Smiling. So you do bet this race. Probably wouldn't use Take Charge Smiling. I think he's going to be particularly bad price. I just wanted to make sure that regarding American Warrior, I mean, American Warrior is fine. As a matter of fact, just wanted to see something. Yeah, American Warrior actually is fine as well, but he's not particularly a good price. I would stick with Big Fig as, I think, the best value in the race. Now, again, as far as value, I don't know, 7-1 maybe. That could be your cutoff. If it's over 7-1, you bet it. If it's under 7-1, you don't. And if it's right at 7-1 on the line, I mean, again, you run the risk of late money coming in after you bet it and crushing your price. I don't know. That's the one thing I haven't really analyzed, is the degree that computer-associated wagering syndicates like follow sheet theory. In other words, if you could really predict who they're going to be playing, well, obviously you probably want to play who they're playing, right? But if you could predict who they're playing, you could at least try to gauge, where that late money's coming in. I'm not quite that good yet, or not that good yet. I'm really not looking to get that good. But I do think Big Fig at 7-1 or higher, probably worth doing here. Okay. Uh, Race number 5 is completely, well, I wouldn't say completely unbettable. So I think the two most likely winners here are the 4 Talking Tipsy and the 3 Theodora Grace. I do think Talking Tipsy is slightly the most likely winner of this whole field. And I don't really think Hopes and Dreams is particularly great at 2-1. I mean, it's fine, but it's not like I would completely toss it. But I don't think it's more likely to win than the 4. So, and certainly I don't think Musical Dozen Nine is as likely to win as the 4. So I would key the 4 here, Talking Tipsy. The problem is 5-1 is, I mean, not that great for this horse. Um, so what you really have to do is think about maybe in race 4, just doing something with Big Fig, and then pairing it up with Talking Tipsy. Because maybe Talking Tipsy rate ends up kind of break even value, but if you have something that exceeds value leading into it, it's not that bad to have it. So I think Talking Tipsy most likely winner. And 5, I don't think it's going to be 5-1. But anything over what, 9, 4-1 maybe? I don't know. I'm probably splitting hairs here with this recommendation. And then Theodora Grace, I think, is second most likely. So if you want to use 3-4, I think that's probably a good way to play, either pick 3s, pick 4s, whatever it is you like to play. Okay, race 6. I think there's definitely some decent value here, but I just don't know where the odds are going to kind of show up. So I think that all the following 7, 8, 10, 11, and 13 are all very much in the mix. Okay, so you look at the morning lines here. You have 10-1, 12-1, 15-1, and then 10-1 and 15-1 again. The problem is here that you have a 3-1 shot, which has been scratched. And the 2 is a first time starter. So I think that one of these is going to take money. Okay. Maybe 2. So you really have to be price sensitive in this race. I think that, and I don't really think either of these are more likely than the other. So I would say that whoever the longest ones are really between 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, I would key those. And as far as kind of a guideline for price, I think that anything under 5-1 in any of these would make them kind of unplayable. But with that 3-1 out, I do make all these horses pretty viable at 6, 7-1. So that's probably your cutoff. But certainly, any of these horses going off above these morning lines are certainly worth doing. So I would watch the odds, and see which of those that I mentioned, again, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, are the longest, and those are the ones that I would use. All right. Number 7, race 7. A couple here for you that are decent. First of all, I do think Policy Option, I mean, is technically the most likely winner here. I think he's super solid, but these 3, Royal Luck, Napoleon War, and Catatumbo, I think are only slightly worse, and the prices are just very, very juicy. So I would use these 3, Royal Luck, Napoleon War, and Catatumbo, 5, 6, and 8. Anything over 10-1 on any of these 3 look good. But again, I like to pick 3s and 4s and stuff. So I'm going to probably be live to these guys before I know what their morning lines are probably. But if you're dead and then you want to start something new in the 7th race, then you really have to be price sensitive to the win pool and make sure that you're not getting like less than, say, 6-1 on any of these. But I do think all 3 of those are good value, even though the 10 is probably slightly the most likely. All right, so race number 8. I think the 3, Wicked Legacy, is certainly the best bet here. I think the 3 is probably best value at 8-1. 7, St. Joe's Jets, kind of a solid favorite, but we don't. I mean, it's not going to be a good price at 3-1. Pasadena Channel looks decent enough at 6-1, but I think that Wicked Legacy is probably the best overall value here. So I would use Wicked Legacy, and I might use Pesadilla Channel. And again, if you want to use just the long shots and earlier legs, then you can go ahead and play all three of these. But I think those three look good. And then if you really want to get spicy, you could play I Love Venezuela at low weight at 10-1. I think that makes some sense as well. So again, Wicked Legacy, and then these other three. Pesadilla. I wouldn't start anything new with St. Joe's, but I would use them kind of the back end of stuff. And then you could put in I Love Venezuela as well. Now we're going to get to our best value of the rate of the card here in a second. Let's just take a look and see if we could sweat the first race here. Now this, by the way, we're using XP Select. Oh, that's where I bet for like 20 years. So I'm kind of, I have a good deal with them. I've been, betting on there forever. So this just happens to be what I use. I think I still have actually a referral code on there. Like if you sign up and put in the referral code TrueDFS, I think they give you some kind of bonus. You could try it. I think you do. Anyway, you have to be a first-time user or whatever. And I don't know if people still, use XP Select as much as they do like the bigger sites like DraftKings and FanDuel and TVG or whatever TVG has become. But I always use XP Select. They're always very, very easy. So you want to watch this one, or you want to go ahead and just give you the best bet of the day?
The horses have reached the gate. It's post time.
Horses have reached the gate.
Set to kick off our 16th day of the season.
Well, all right. So let's just we'll get back to this. So race number 9 is where the best bet of the day is, and for me, that's going to be the 6 Rose Collector. Oh, we're going to come with it here. So 6 Rose Collector at 15-1. I think it's almost the most likely winner of the race. So I think this is the best bet of the day. Anything over 10, maybe 10-1 makes it extremely good. And then if you really want to get greedy meaning like if you're getting really stuck for the day, the 2 other horses you can use at really big prices is Magic Heart and Artie's Angel. That's the 2 and the 9. So I would use Rose Collector as your key to the whole day. And it's great because this way you could be in full degen mode, lose every race, and still, give yourself the illusion that you're going to get out for the day because you always have Rose Collector waiting for you. But then if you really want to just take down everything, you play Artie's Angel underneath, you play Magic Heart, maybe you box 2, 6, 9 or something, 6 on top of 2, 9 and behind, all kinds of degeneracy with the Rose Collector. So that is going to be it. But listen, if you want a taste for how well I'm running today, let's just take a look and see who do we like here? The 3? Let's see how the 3 does. And we'll give a little play-by-play here. All right, so the 3 is looking, all right, he's sitting right behind the speed here. So looks to be getting a good trip, and it's kind of hard to not get a good trip in a 5-horse field. So it doesn't look like he's performing all that great right now. You'd expect him to be, staying a little closer, but okay, it's not as if these horses are getting away from him. He's getting a nice trip. There's really no excuse if he loses, except it would be nice if in a 4-horse field, you don't end up going 4 wide. So it looks as if, I don't know, this looks kind of grim. The 6-4 to 5 shot is looking kind of strong. I mean, look at this. How do you end up going 3 wide in like a 4-horse field? But the good thing is we're not really allowed to complain unless he would have won otherwise. So let's see. He's going to try to go around the 4. This loose favorite looks like really, really strong though, so I don't think we're going to get anywhere near him. Look at him bearing out. He looks really, really terrible. So he's going to pretend that has a chance here, but he really doesn't. He's just kind of get a very well measured second here. So you can judge for yourself whether this is a good sign or a bad sign, but it's definitely not getting there. So if you keyed him on top, you lost, and that's pretty much it. So again, hope you guys have a very good holiday. You play any of this, great. If you want to pay me back in some way if you win, the best way to do that is actually sign up for TrueDFS. I mean, because this is I don't really do horse racing too much, but if you do play daily fantasy sports, we do a pretty good job of it, and I do encourage you to check that out. I mean, don't expect to get a lot of horse racing stuff there. That's very, very rare, but that's the what I would recommend for, if you do like fantasy sports, specifically daily fantasy sports. All right, that is going to do it. Good luck, everybody.